Hello everyone, my name is Evan and I like to make stop-motion dinosaurs and monsters. And on this video today, we'll be restoring my fire-farting dragon named Ignis, I do say.
I am Ingis!
No! Now, as I restore and resculpt this dragon today, we'll be beefing him up, I say. Making this fire-farting monster far more powerful, one could say. But the first thing we're doing to this dragon today is making him more well-balanced, I say. For smoother fart animations, you could say. And making some stronger dragon wings, I do say. And making a dragon tier list along the way. Now, first off, unfortunately, dragons do not exist. However, it would be pretty cool if they did. However, if they did happen to exist, they would need to conform to Earth's biological and physical rules. So I figured it would be kind of fun during this video to make my first tier list on which fantasy dragon stands the best chance of being real, and perhaps more than just fantasy. To rank these dragons' believability, we'll start with the most egregiously unnatural characters, as well as a few of their characteristics, and we'll move our way up from there. Now, obviously, dragons breathe fire. However, not necessarily in Ignis's case. Now, believe me, I've looked into it, and the only thing that comes close to it in nature is the bombardier beetle. Fairly appropriate name considering it spews, well, boiling hot liquid out its butt. And obviously, that's how it deters its enemies. Not gonna lie, that would definitely work for me. I don't want anything to do with your boiling behind. And quick fun fact to know and share, obviously Ignis got a bit of inspiration from this beetle. Now, let's move on to the issue with limbs. Most Western depictions of dragons, like on the Welsh flag, have 4 legs and 2 wings, for a total of 6 limbs. But all bony creatures on Earth, both on land and in the air, evolved from a 4-limbed fish many millions of years ago, whose body is the blueprint for all current bony creatures, including the hypothetical dragon, which is clearly a very bony creature. This would make it very unlikely for a 6-limbed dragon to evolve on Earth. And that's why some fantasy writers, filmmakers, and game designers have used real bats, birds, and pterosaurs as models for their 4-limbed dragons. Now, unfortunately, that means all 6-limbed dragons are at the bottom of the list, including you, dear Ignis, and the Smaug from the theatrical release of the first Hobbit film. The Smaug from the second film, however, gets to move on, since the filmmakers removed his front legs, not because they cared about Earth's evolutionary history, but because they thought it would make a more expressive performance. A wingless 4-limbed dragon would be accurate too, but without the magical ability of flight like Eastern dragons, this is basically just a lizard. Now, flying off into the next topic, wings. So let's talk about wings. Animals need them in order to fly, which means they need big chest muscles to flap their wings. They need a tall ridge on their specially modified sternums, called a keel, for the muscles to attach to. So a dragon without a keel couldn't have the muscles needed to power fast enough flight to keep its massive body in the air. So that means it's the end of the line for most of our wyverns. Now, it should be briefly mentioned that a keel alone isn't enough to fly. One also needs the right combination of weight, wing size, and flight speed. The more a creature weighs, the bigger its wings need to be, or the faster it needs to fly to generate necessary lift to keep it afloat. For example, penguins, which do have a keel, could in principle fly despite their comically small wings. But they would have to go nearly as fast as a commercial airliner and deal with ludicrous forces on their wings. The Quetzalcoatlus pterosaur, thought to be the largest flying animal that ever existed, had a 12-meter wingspan, or approximately 40 feet, which kept its 250 kilograms, or 551 pounds, aloft at a reasonable 80 kilometers an hour speed, or approximately 50 miles an hour for you Americans that basically highway speed. Now, if you painstakingly calculate all the weight sizes for the dragons, you will unfortunately find that they all have wings far too small for their own weight, meaning they would have to fly at ridiculously fast speeds in order to stay in flight. And the forces involved would destroy any flesh-bone-based wings. So unfortunately, it looks like no one's gonna win, right? Well, there is one candidate that I personally think is the most realistic, which happens to be a dragon that has the biggest wings in correlation to its weight. And the winner is... the Hungarian horntail from Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. It has 4 limbs, a keel to hold its muscles, and the biggest wings in correlation to its weight. Now, whether or not you could ride it, we could get into that, but we don't want this video to drag on. Now, after that clawsome pun, be sure to smash that like button today and comment below what you think of Ignis the Dragon. Perhaps consider sharing with your dragon-loving friends, and comment below what you think. So unfortunately, our conclusion is that dragons are basically scientifically implausible at best. Now, one person's probably gonna comment on how tons of cultures throughout the world and throughout history all have the same relative image of this mythical beast. And the answer for that, I personally think, is dinosaurs, which was covered in, I believe, a past topic with Ignis the Dragon, if I'm not mistaken. I will try to provide a link in the post description. If it's not there, at least there will be King Kong parts 1, 2, and 3. Hee hee hee. So now, a slightly different topic at hand. If this video has gotten you all fired up about dragons, be sure to show your support for Ignis today, I do say. Because I would really like to do a stop-motion animation, cartoon series with this dragon. But unfortunately, the views haven't been that great with Ignis, I've noticed. So I'm gonna have to kind of put a cap on this, generally just because of how much time and effort that goes into this stuff. This character will be staying around, but if this video, say, doesn't get 1,000 views by the next video post, then he's probably gonna have to remain a side character, and I won't be designating nearly as much time to him at that point. If things change over time, perhaps, but unfortunately, I do have to value how much time and effort that goes into making these stop-motion models. So with that, I want to end on a slightly more positive note. We'll be returning to, well, more Godzilla content next time. So one could say Shin Godzilla is now on the way, I do say. And with that note, I'm gonna leave you with, well, the glamour shots of Ignis the Dragon. Hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to show your support for this fire-farting monster. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the very end of the video. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the content, comment below what you think, share with your friends, and perhaps consider subscribing if any. And anyway, that's enough from me. Till next time, take it easy.